something else. We are again. Time to time with class. So we have to reschedule class to now. Good evening, Miss. Okay, like I said, so sorry we have to reschedule the class to 9 p.m. The network has been crazy lately. Okay, so just have to do something. Good evening, Miss Grace, Miss Fatima, Miss Mandy, Miss Adewale. Good evening, all. It's great to have you all on board. Now, yeah, good evening, ma. You're welcome. So, without further ado, it's getting late, and I wouldn't want to keep us unnecessarily. Let's just go into the other things today. I want to talk about how you can develop paragraph, right? The methods you can use when it comes to development of paragraph. All right. I give. Please, for those of us who are yet to submit the assignment, please let's do the needful and let's submit the assignment. So let's get down to things into this class. Okay, so we have 2. All right. Paragraph. All right. Development. Okay. Paragraph development. So I want to look at some methods you can use in the application of developing paragraphs. Okay. Good evening, Miss Rejoice. Now, basically, we're going to be looking at very first one could be like the illustration. Okay, yesterday, let's not forget, we discussed about what paragraph is and how important is the topic sentence, okay, in paragraph development. That was what we talked about yesterday. An assignment was given yesterday. So please, if you missed yesterday's class, you can always go to the website on class update and identify with the date and do how to go through the class. So today, we're going to be doing it very briefly because it's getting late already and a lot of us are exhausted from today's work. So now, developing paragraph. Now that we have know what paragraph is, all right, there are no piece of writing without paragraphs, right? And there are no piece of writing without the topic sentence. So now, how can we now develop this paragraph to make a complete piece of writing? All right, how can we develop this piece of writing to make sense and pass message to readers? Now, we're going to be looking at different strategies. Good evening, Ms. Lina. We're going to be looking at different strategies you can apply when it comes to the development of this paragraph. All right, so the very first one is illustration. Okay, now very simple, like we all know, another word for illustration can mean giving examples. Now, illustration means giving example. Okay, giving example is one of the easiest way of developing topic. Using slash giving examples to, all right, to develop a paragraph. All right, and basically giving example is one of the easiest way of developing a paragraph or a topic. Now, when a writer gives examples or illustration, it helps the reader to understand a rather different and abstract generalization, all right, may contain in the topic sentence. Now, let's say, for example, as a writer, let's say, for example, you're writing an essay about how you spent your last holiday or where you spent your last Christmas. Now, let's assume you spent your Christmas, all right? Let's say you spent your Christmas in Belkuta last Christmas. All right. In Abeokuta. Abeokuta. Oh, Abeokuta. Now, let's say you're writing something about where you spent your last Christmas, happens to be in Abeokuta. Now, Abeokuta here is a place in the western part of Nigeria, all right, whereby, so let me write here, a place in, so we have west, all right, we have rocks, all right, we have springs, all right, we have what else? We have eels. Now, okay, we also have what else we have? We have pasture. All right, we have mountain climbing. All right, now we are trying to talk about how you can use illustration to develop a paragraph. Now, or you're trying to develop a topic. The topic here is where you spent your last Christmas, and where you spent your last Christmas happens to be in Abeokuta. Now, how can you explain to somebody what Abeokuta is? All right, somebody who has never been to Abeokuta before, somebody who has even never heard of the name Abeokuta, and this is you communicating with that person in your writing. Now, with the use of all these rocks, hills, springs, pasture, mountain climbing, you are simply telling the person that Abeokuta is a place filled with rocks. Alongside come springs, waterfalls. All right, waterfalls. Okay, all these are examples. All right, and all these examples are pointing to Abeokuta happening to be a place whereby if you go there, you find a lot of hills, mountain climbing activities, you see springs, all right, you see pastures. Okay, all these are examples used to further strengthen, all right, in the explanation of Abeokuta. Okay, now the use of illustration to develop a paragraph is simply telling us that whenever you are developing a paragraph with illustration, you are giving sufficient examples, sufficient illustration to make the reader have a better understanding of the topic sentence. My voice is breaking. Okay, good evening. Can we all hear me? Now, also, it is said here that he is also, when a writer uses example or illustration to develop the topic or the paragraph, he is also able to persuade the reader that what he is generalizing about is correct because there are sufficient examples to support his point. All right. It's also an an avenue, an avenue to prove his point. All right. So when a writer uses illustration, it's also an avenue to further prove the point that his generalization is correct because there are sufficient examples. Now you can imagine if you are talking about Abeokuta and you are now saying snow, all right, this is not a good example that goes with Abeokuta because normally Abeokuta happens to be in Nigeria where we hardly experience snow, not to even talk of the West. All right, so that's how it is. The writer uses this to further prove his point and make further clarification and better understanding. So basically, the use of illustration is cogent, all right, goes hand in hand with the use of sufficient examples. Okay, so we have that as that. Now let's look at how you can use description. Okay, the use of description. Now using description now. Okay, now in the case of description, just like the name said, it has to do with when a writer has to what? Describe. All right, describe, like giving detailed explanation about the subject. All right, here a writer has to what? Describe. All right, it could be describe, okay, a person, object, place, or thing. Okay, and this basically go well with personal letters. All right, this basically goes well with personal letters. All right, narratives, narratives. All right, reports. Okay, narratives, reports, and travel log. Most especially this travel. All right, what we call travel log. Okay, now basically, like I said, like it's written here, when you have to describe, and when it comes to giving description, you are giving a detailed explanation. All right, I think something's even missing here. We also, I think there's something missing here, also called product. All right, description. Okay, it's one very important thing we all look out for when we want to purchase something online. Right, you want to go and look at the product description, where you find the capacity, the strength, the warranty, whatsoever that has to do with how the product functions. So basically, when it comes to developing a paragraph or a topic sentence or a piece of writing using description, you intend to want to give details. Now let's say, for example, look at this report. All right, when I was working then in the hospitality industry, every night you will report to the manager. Now in your report, you're not giving summaries. All right, like you are giving detailed. All right, details of what you witnessed, detail of your activity for that day. All right, so at so time I got to the office and I commenced social activity. At social time, this was the activity I did, this was the result I got. At social time, so the activity I did, and at exactly this time, I concluded for the day. You are describing what happened. All right. This decision also should also be in what I call um witness. All right. I um, witness. All right, and this report could be in two different ways. It could be what you witness and you're trying to give a report, all right, of you what you witness. Now narrative, trying to give your narrative of the story. All right, trying to give your narrative of the story, you tend to give detailed explanation. So description now has to do with when a paragraph or you are trying to develop a topic sentence that has to do with you giving detailed explanation. Now look at all these personal letter, you give detailed explanation about yourself, all right? And your decision could be about a person, a place, an object, all right, or an event, all right? So personal letter about a person, narrative could be about a place, report could be what you witnessed or something, okay? And all right, travel log, all right, where you've been to or something, okay? Product description, you're trying to describe a product, and eyewitness, what you might have witnessed an event, all right? That has to do with description, using of description to develop a paragraph, okay? Now, it says here, the following items are usually included, okay? The following items are usually included in a descriptive writing, all right? Place and position, okay? So we have place and position. Place and position, okay? We also have measurements, all right? Shapes and pattern. Measurements, all right? We have and shapes and what we call patterns. All right, these are the recipes, right, of descriptive method of developing a paragraph, right? Colors and textures, materials and substance. Okay, so let's continue. Like I said yesterday, okay, that every of our classes that we'll have, every of the classes we'll be having on GST102, because this is one thing I've observed that keeps happening year in, year out. All right. You need to get okay, I think we are back online now. That was a thing from the network. So like I said, you need to be acquainted with a lot of new words. Like the assignment I gave yesterday, you are to find the antonyms and synonyms of some word I listed on the whiteboard. So the same thing is going to happen today. I'm going to be listing some words. You are to get the antonyms and synonyms of word closest in meaning to the words I will be listing. But that will be pretty much at the ending of the class. All right. So we have developing paragraph with what we call cause and effects. All right. Now, speaking of which, we have cause and effect. So to me, I feel this is more of the cause and consequence. All right, cause and consequence. I think in the material, there was this paragraph that was used to explain cause and effect. All right, now cause. Let's take for example, in a, a farm or in an environment that chooses not to respect, all right, the word now should be irrigation, all right. Now let's say for example, let me give a simpler example. We're talking about cause and effect now. Let me give a simpler example. Now it says here that if you um if you dump, all right, all right, refuse in the sewage, all right, if you dump refuse in the sewage or you dump refuse in the wrong place, the network is very poor. Okay, can you, Miss Rejoice, can you hear me? Should I or am I not speaking loud enough? Can you hear me? Am I audible now? Am I audible now? Is it better? Okay, now we are talking about cause and effect. Okay, and I said it is more of when you do this, you get this repercussion or consequence. Okay, now let's use a very simple explanation. Now, we all know this general saying that says there is no ignorance in the court of law. All right, meaning that if you abuse someone's rights, you are expected to face the wrath of the law. All right. So now, for you facing the wrath of the law, it is no coincidence. All right. Facing the wrath of the law simply means that you have kicked against the law, so you face the consequence of kicking against the law. All right. So this is more of the cause and effect kind of strategy in developing what we call paragraph. Okay, I believe you can hear me now. It's a bit better now. Now, effect or consequence can be handled in the same reasons or causes. All right, effect and consequence can be handled in the same reasons. All right, but now the main idea is regarded as causing the consequence. All right, the main idea is regarded as what we call causing the consequence. That's why I said if you kick against the law, you face the consequence. You dance to the tune of the law. All right. So you going to prison or you going to jail is a result of you have kicked against the law at a point in time. All right. So the repercussion or the consequence of your action is what has sent you to the prison. Okay. So that is what the cause and effect strategy of developing paragraph. My voice is breaking. What is going on with the network? Miss Rejoice, is it or am I not speaking loud enough or what is the problem? Okay, let me listen to it from my end. Loud enough or what is the problem? I think it's from your end because I can hear everything I'm saying here properly. Okay. Please, I would like to know if we're having similar issue. Okay, Miss Lina says it's clear from my end. Okay. Miss Lina said it's clear from my end. So please can we have some other persons attest to the fact that my voice is not breaking? It's just Miss Lina and we are about 10 of us. Please can I get it's just Miss Lina. Wow. Is it breaking? Okay, I think we can continue. Let this not be a distraction. Okay, Miss Fatima says it's clear at her hand. Okay, good. Let's continue then. So I think it's a thing with the network. Okay. So now the cause and effect, okay, has to do with cause and consequence. Okay. Now, okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Now we also have paragraph developed by definition. All right, paragraph developed by definition. Okay, basically we give detailed definition, all right, about, okay, I think we are back online again. So now, when you develop a paragraph by definition, what you are simply doing is that you need to explain what something means, especially if we feel that our reader may not be familiar with it. Now, this generally happens when we use technical terms. All right, the use of break down technical terms. All right. Okay, when you break down technical terms into simpler meaning, okay, when you break down technical terms into simpler meanings, okay, we can say that this is a paragraph by developed by definitions. Also, we have comparison and contrast. All right, when you compare, okay, let's say for example, pap and quick out. Okay, when you begin to list the features of pap and begin to list the features of quick out, then you begin to compare each other, right? This is a kind of, or you're trying to, please sir, what is the second example? Mrs. Lina, what do you mean second example? Do you mean break down technical terms into simpler meaning? Do you mean breaking down technical terms into simpler meaning? Is that what you were referring to? After detailed definition. Okay, yes, yes. When you give detailed definition about certain terminologies, when you give detailed definition about certain terms, okay? So now comparison and contrast are common devices in writing, mainly because we tend to think that way. Now, our decisions are often based on comparison and contrast. All right, comparison. We also have comparison and contrast. All right, this is another strategy we tend to use when we are developing a paragraph. We begin to list, all right, when you're trying to make a comparison between a it could be maybe the best country or the country with the best military assets, all right, you tend to list the military assets of the two countries and you begin to cite your examples and what makes the other better or weaker, right? This also has to do with the listing of features, examples, right? Advantages and disadvantages. Okay, so basically, these are all the strategies you can use to develop your paragraph. All right, as we have spoken about cause and effect. Okay, Mr. Kolawole said it's clear from his end. Okay, so as we have spoken about cause and effect, okay, contrast and comparison. Also, we've touched on effects, okay, cause and effect, contrast and comparison, with the use of illustration and description. All this we have touched on. So in our next class, we'll be talking about formal letters, all right, how important they are and how we can structure them correctly. But just before we call it a wrap for today, I'm going to be listing some words and I will require us to go get the meanings of these words. And we are expected to submit this. It's going to be our assignment actually. Okay, so I have assignment. Okay, so I'm going to be listing the words. So I have squid. All right. The meanings. Let me give it an ending so that we know what we're doing. Find the meanings. Of the following words. All right. So we have. Okay. So we have munch. Munch. All right. We have canto. All right. We have IQ. All right. Patriotic. Okay. We have all right. We have avalanches. All right. We have avalanches. We have terrified. Terrified. Seven. We have predators. All right. We have 9. Okay, 8. 10 words actually. Foreman. 9 and 10. Curriculum. And the 10th word. We have facets. So those are the 10 words. I believe we can see them clearly. Okay, so we have munch as the first word, excommunicanto as the second word, IQ as the third word, patriotic as the fourth word, avalanches as the fifth word, terrified as the sixth word, predators as the seventh word, foreman, foreman as the eighth word. We have curriculum as the ninth word, and facet as the 10th word. So please, I think our next class, I think today is the last class we're having. I think we are not having classes tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, but if you're having class tomorrow, please, you're expected to use your dictionary. You know, I said this yesterday that a lot of these questions come out a lot in GSTs, especially GSTs. Words, clauses, and meanings, all right, opposite in meanings, antonyms, and synonyms. And I said just to encourage us to use our dictionary and get familiar with some of these words. At the end of every class, I've given us at least minimum of 10 words to get. And I was impressed yesterday, especially people in the private class. A lot of them submitted their assignment, and I was really impressed. So please, let's go to attend to this and submit our assignments too. So on this note, call it a wrap for today. Thank you very much, everyone. It's it's, um, it's already 2:10, and a lot of us still make it up to tonight's class. Let's keep up with the spirit. This is actually what we need to break through in this system. All right. So I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorials. Have a wonderful night rest. Bye bye.